All right, so there's the record, and here goes the encoder. And
Hi, guys. Hello. Thank you for coming and watching us, Trash Pandas, where we talk about reality TV shows and trending TV shows. And yeah, I've had a pretty good week so far. I started watching The Great on Hulu. It's really good. It's about Catherine the Great. It's very loosely based on facts, but it's hilarious so far. And I also started watching Tiny Fires or Little Fires Everywhere. Just started watching that, and I fucking love it so far. So what about you? What have you been watching?
So my normal stuff, anything on Bravo related, I've been watching. The big thing that happened this week is, I don't know how many of you watch Vanderpump Rules, but some Vanderpump Rules cast members got in a lot of trouble for past racial
Comments?
Things that they did. So what they did was, two of the cast members had like called the cops on she was like a side role, but a Black female cast member, and without having like any evidence, basically called the cops on her. And now, you know, obviously it's coming to light where you don't do that. Like,
right.
I mean, duh. Like,
you don't do that anyway.
Right. Anyway, like, I don't know why it took all the protests and everything for this to happen, for them to actually get fired for doing what they did. But Bravo did fire them. It was Stassi and Kristen. So that has been like a huge thing going on in the Bravo world right now, because Bravo's super white.
Yeah.
I mean, like, their casts for the most part are not diversified at all. Like, they have like the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but it's a group of all Black women. But like on any other of their like housewives shows, they don't have like any diversity at all. There's no diversity on Vanderpump Rules, on any of these shows. So it was interesting to see Bravo's response to all of this, and good to see that they got the boot, because you don't do that.
You don't do shit like that.
You don't do shit like that.
We don't stand for that shit.
No, hell no. So that was interesting. I've been following that really closely. Lots of gossip. There's lots of apologies going on. Like, a bunch of brands and sponsors have dropped both of these girls.
We're gonna have to keep people updated on what happens.
Yeah, they were making like a lot of money. Stassi, one of the girls, just came out with like this book last year. Her publisher and editor dropped her. And this makes it all the more bittersweet and funny, is that she just bought like this $2.some million mansion in California, and now she's being dropped by her show, being dropped by all of her sponsors. So
not funny, but that's funny.
I mean, you gotta like seriously look deep within yourself and realize that like you have implicit bias, and like the things that you do can have super negative ramifications. And
yeah, that's true.
I mean, sorry, not sorry that happened to you. That sucks. Maybe be a nice person in the future.
Be a good fucking person.
Right.
Exactly.
Be a good person in the future, and this stuff won't happen to you. So I've been following that really closely. I was telling Lauren, I watched the Michelle Obama documentary on Netflix called Becoming, which was amazing. And no surprise here, I'm all about like left-wing politics.
I think we both are.
Yeah. So sorry if that irks any of our viewers. Sorry, not sorry. But it was bittersweet to see like what we used to have in the office versus what we have now.
Right.
And just the level of class that she has, and she's amazing, and I love her story. So that was awesome. And then the other thing we finished watching was the Jeffrey Epstein.
The Epstein
documentary.
That was a lot. it's only like, I think it's like 4 episodes or something, and it's just like a lot of information being put into a very small amount of time. And I wasn't surprised by any of it, completely honest.
No.
You know, everything was pretty well put out there.
I think what was the most shocking about it was seeing how far it reached out, like to how many different victims that he
they were
actually
saying like
had.
hundreds of
victims, and the fact that some of his victims were being trafficked, which, I mean, I guess that's probably why he ended up being murdered, because Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Most definitely did not kill himself. I think we all agree on that.
No.
In fact, my really good friend Becky, she gave me a Christmas ornament. It was like a glass ornament that said Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, and it was like my favorite possession for almost a year.
Yeah, no.
So I love that.
No, he didn't kill himself. And like just seeing like the photos of him in the documentary with like Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, it was like, oh, this thing goes real deep.
Way deeper than I
had thought. And then like the fact that what's her name? I'm gonna pronounce it wrong. Ghislaine Maxwell, his like co-conspirator. Yeah. She's never been charged with a crime, even though she had been like helping to recruit these high school, sometimes middle school girls.
And they were able to prove that she was there.
Yeah.
There's pictures.
Yeah, there's pictures of her with the victims and everything, and she's never been charged with a crime. So that's super upsetting, and I wonder when her day of reckoning is going to come, because wow,
that was a lot.
Yeah, that it's super messed up. I would highly recommend watching it if that's
absolutely.
If you like true crime, definitely that was a good one. They went real deep. And I think they did a really good job at getting the victim's story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I felt like the girls had the time to say exactly what they wanted to say. There was even one point where, I can't remember which guy it was, but he said, you know, this one girl has never publicly accused me, and I challenge her to say on this documentary that she spent the night with me. And then the next clip is her being like, yup, spent the night with him multiple times. So it's like, you know, the stuff that you're seeing while you're watching it, it's like, it's a lot to take in, and we definitely wanted to talk more about it. But it's a lot. I think that I want to watch it again before we actually do
talk
something with
more about it. So
exactly.
Actually, we would love your input if us recapping that is something that you would be interested in. We could dedicate an entire episode to it. But it is a lot. And I think the other thing that was really interesting was his former employees coming forward and saying, yeah, we saw young girls there all the time, and we saw inappropriate things. And the one guy that did like the cellular towers on his island, where he was like, I had 2 girls in high school at the time, and I would not let them within 5 miles of that man. Like, yeah. And so it's also interesting to see, because I wonder, with as much money and power that he has, would they have come out if he wasn't dead? Would they have been saying these things if he was, just because, I mean, it seems like he had the power to,
he was
to shut up a lot of people. He got away with it for a very long time,
like 10 years.
Over 10 years. Yeah, over 10 years.
That's like when they started just finding out about it was like 10 years.
Exactly. So if that's something that y'all are interested in, we would do a deep dive on that. But for now, we're going to keep it light and airy, and we're going to talk about 90 Day Reunion.
90 Day Fiancé tell-all.
The tell-all.
I think that none of it was a shock, actually. Like, literally everything I saw, I felt like it was, 4 hours of tell-all, and I got zero information out of it. It was just a bunch of people talking all at once on a Zoom meeting. It really did not intrigue me at all the entire time. I don't, and now, you know what, the funny thing is that after I watched the new 90 Day Fiancé the other way, they had a commercial for They Tell Even More. And I was
Yeah.
like, what more can these fucking people talk about?
Right. Like when
we've
is
heard
this gonna
everything.
end? Right. We've
It's
heard
literally
this.
the never-ending story. I was just so bored. Go ahead and start.
All right. So first I want to talk about so obviously they're filming this via Zoom because of the pandemic. And so they just first touch on like what people have been doing in the pandemic. And the only thing that I wanted to comment on here was David and Lana has like this stockpile of like canned goods and like juice, like a bunch of juice. And he's like, this juice will last me a year. And I'm like, dude, who drinks that much juice?
Nobody.
Like,
Your teeth will rot out.
No,
like no, dude.
So much juice. Okay, so
However, I probably have a stockpile that big of alcohol, so I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, that's one thing. But I mean, you're an adult.
That didn't last me a year either. It didn't even last me 3 months. I had to keep going
before
out.
I needed to get more. So I thought that was funny. So Sean Robinson, the host, bless her heart for dealing with these.
She always has to deal with like the
worst.
the most extra people ever. I feel so bad for
Also,
her.
though, I wish she would ask different questions sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, Sean, can you dig a little deeper? But so Sean mentions that Jeffrey and Varia won't be a part of the reunion, but she doesn't say why. So she just like drops it at that. She doesn't address any of the reasons why Jeffrey wasn't invited to the reunion, which we all know that he wasn't invited through like gossip columns,
Right.
because of his impending assault charge against his ex-girlfriend. And I think we touched on this last episode about how like Varia like turned down to do the reunion because Jeff wasn't invited, and
which is stupid. I wish that she would just go on so I could just hear the side of her story. But
right. Yolanda talks about how in December she got super sick and she was actually put in like a medically induced coma to be on a ventilator, and her doctor now believes that she had coronavirus.
Yeah, she was not tested for it
Right.
though, because at the time they didn't know, like the coronavirus wasn't actually a thing over in America yet. So she said that she was on a ventilator for a month.
Yeah,
which is insane. And she looks great.
Yeah, and she does. She looks great, and she's back at it. But I thought that was really
crazy. That was pretty crazy.
Like, before we even like knew it was here, her doctor thinks that she probably had it.
And it makes sense. I mean,
oh yeah, totally makes sense. I think it was here a lot longer than we knew it was here. So the first major check-in, like the first couple that they really put on the spot is Avery and Ash. And they broke up. They're no longer together.
Coming
from a mile away.
Dude is a sexist, like misogynistic pig.
He is a misogynist for sure. So it sounds like Ash broke up with Avery because once Avery got back to the States, she wanted to like take a break from the relationship because she wanted to like kind of like process like all of the crap that she had been through while she was over there, like all the lies that he had told and all of that. And Ash was basically like, how many breaks do we need to take? Like, this is just done. We're done. So Avery says her feelings were fading after she got back because she was never able to get like the authentic side of him, which again, we saw this coming from miles away. Like, this was always their issue, is Ash sugarcoating everything in his life and never actually wanting to admit their problems or work on their problems or even talk about their problems.
She even said, like, I think one of the things, the only thing that really stood out about the relationship that she had mentioned was that she was like, I can never trust a single word he says. And I feel like that's true. Even at one point, they asked him about a screenshot that Tom had sent to her because he had asked her out on a date and she said yes. And Ash had told Avery that he had a screenshot from Tom And they ask about that, and he goes, "Oh, I lied to her." And it's like, you're just proving her point, dude.
Right. He's like,
you obviously
I
lied
never
about
actually
everything.
had the screenshot, whatever. It was stupid.
I did it because I was hurt and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, I think one of the things that he said was, if you're in a relationship and you love somebody, if it's true, then you don't treat people that way. It's like, the same goes for a situation like that. If you really loved her, if you actually cared about her, you wouldn't go out of your way to lie to her about what you see and what, you know what I mean? Like, just say straight up, it bothers me because I know about it and I don't like it.
On the other side of that, so Avery says there were a lot of red flags from the beginning of their relationship, and she brings up like an old fight that they had about some Instagram thing where like he basically said he was like single on Instagram
removed all
the photos of her. And this is what we heard we heard about this fight at the very beginning of their 90 Day Fiance story. And Avery again brings it up in the reunion. So part of me is like, well, Avery, you either gotta let these things go and not bring them up anymore and move past them, or you don't, and you dump the dude. Like, why are we still here talking?
If you're still talking about the same thing,
and the same problems,
then you obviously aren't over that, and you need to like get that out if you're going to. Like,
Oh, and then they had like some sort of like, she brought up the fact that they had like some sort of like weird fight about a diet they were doing together.
A diet, yeah.
And I think her point in bringing that up was like, he didn't follow the diet that she wanted him to follow, and she was like, it's just like another instance of him lying, but it all just seemed like super petty.
That was super petty, and even BGL, baby girl Lisa, was just like, girl, you know that is petty as fuck. Yeah. And I think that's the only thing that BGL said the entire time that I was like, I'm on your side about this, because everything else I was like, just shut the fuck up. Like, she's just so annoying.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
All right, so the next couple is Rose and Ed. Rose requested a translator to be there, and she speaks Tagalog, which I'm really glad they brought in a translator because she has a lot to say.
Yeah.
But she's not able to communicate it very well in English, so I'm glad that they brought in the translator for her. She is very angry. And Ed is confused as to why she's angry. And it's like, really?
Ed is confused about everything all the time.
Right.
He's just a confused guy, apparently.
So he claims that Rose reached out to him on Valentine's Day. And he's like, I've got the messages, I got the text.
It's just a bunch of pictures of her with like filters.
Like Snapchat filters on. And
filters.
Rose disagrees. She's like, I wasn't the one to reach out. He was the one that reached out. I just responded because I didn't want to be rude. And then Ed says he was ready to give up everything again to go be with Rose. He was ready to give up his relationship with his daughter again to go be with Rose, which I'm just like, you're such an idiot.
And that poor girl, they bring his daughter on, and she's just like, it hurts my feelings to know that he would have done that.
She cries about it.
She cries, yeah. And I'm just like, girl, you know what? I don't even blame her for feeling that way, because he tries to explain it off like I never said that, or that's not the way that I meant it, and I would never give you up ever. Yeah. Which I understand where he's coming from. But at the same time, his daughter is like really hurt that he is trying to go after a woman who's so much younger, and she understands that there's just not the connection there that he says that he has.
Yeah, and he says that he says that he didn't mean it like that, and he's like, once again, I messed up, I'm an idiot, and I'm sorry, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, how many times do you have to fall back on this? Like, this same sorry ass apology of me being like, oh, I didn't mean it like that, I'm an idiot. Okay, there's only so many times you can tell me you're an idiot. Like, I'm done with you. I'm done. You're stupid. So then he brings up the fact that he found out that Rose was like in a relationship with a woman.
Doesn't matter.
And that's why he was like completely blindsided, and then that's why he like didn't end up going back to the Philippines again to like see her. But
if she took him back, I'd be pissed anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy that he didn't, because in reality, like, she was should not be with that man.
Yeah.
Like, he does not care about her the way that he says that he does. And I understand that he probably thinks that he does, but he doesn't. That's not how you treat somebody that you love. And asking someone to like change everything about their culture and their life, and even just like stupid shit like, can you shave your legs or can you brush your teeth and stuff? It's just insulting.
Well,
I would be pissed if somebody
and
did
they did like a montage of like him asking her like all these embarrassing things, like first to do the STD check, next to shave your legs, next to brush your teeth. And she starts like sobbing, like Rose starts sobbing, and she's like, this is so embarrassing. Like, you don't treat somebody like that you love. I mean, and I don't know, like it goes back, like I know they're supposed to air like their real relationship, but I just feel like if you really had feelings for this woman, these are like some issues that you may address off camera.
Right.
And even his daughter was like, yeah, you shouldn't have like approached the STD like check that way. Like maybe you should have been like, I'll take one with you, or you know what I mean? Like they were just, he's not good with his words at all, and he's horrible at communication, and we see that with his daughter, we see that with Rose, and he's just not very he's not a very likable guy with the way that he communicates.
He just seems like a jerk, to be completely honest, but like I said before, that's like since day one, he didn't seem like somebody I wanted to like invest any time into.
So the next person that they talk to is Yolanda. David starts schooling Yolanda on internet scams, and I just wrote a whole row of laughing emojis because are you kidding me, David? Are you kidding me? Like, you're gonna talk to this woman about internet scams?
Right. You're living one currently.
Right.
Just because you've met her does not mean that she actually cares about you, or that she's like not trying to get money out of you, or like whatever the case might be.
Right. And so the private investigator that her daughter hired joins the conversation, and he's like there weren't just red flags, there were red banners about this guy. Like, he is for sure.
And we all knew that.
Yeah, he's for sure a catfish, and yada yada. Like, we get it. We know. We already know. Like, there's no more to the story to me. Like,
a lot of this could have been ended so many episodes ago.
Oh my God.
I'm just like so ready to be done with it.
So over it. Next one, Darcy and Tom. So Darcy is dressed to the nines. She's got like this crazy Donatella Versace wig on.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
And it looks really far back.
It is
too.
way too far back. It's like,
it looks like it's sliding
like
off
way
of her
far
head.
back.
She has like a 10 head.
Yeah. And she's wearing like this figure skating costume, like dress, like it's like nude, but it's like got these bedazzled gems,
yeah, like crystals or
all
something.
over it. God love you, Darcy. Like, girl, do you? She's amazing. Anyway, so this is another sad storyline. It's just like over and done with. But Tom claims that he met this other girl, Shannon, when his relationship with Darcy was over, but their timelines don't match up.
Yeah.
It seems that he was probably talking to them both and probably being a scumbag, and that's just Tom. And Darcy feels like she was strung along. He apologizes for asking if she put weight on, which was like the most asinine thing that you could say to a woman. And he apologizes and said that he was hurt and he said a stupid thing in the moment, but
he also admits to hitting on Stephanie as well and like sending her a message.
Not Avery too.
And Stephanie.
Yeah, Avery and
both
Stephanie.
of them.
Yeah.
He like gets Stephanie is like, oh, I didn't know you were flirting with me. I'm like, bitch, you knew he was flirting with you. Everyone knows when a guy is flirting with them. He's not trying to be subtle about it. Tom has an ego.
You think? I think like the biggest thing is he wants to be on TV.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that.
Really what it comes down to.
I think there's a few people like that on a couple of the different seasons and stuff. There's some people that I'm like, you are literally here just to get on TV.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So speaking of Stephanie and Erica is just like, I feel like is just like rolled over, like steamrolled, and is not allowed to actually speak her truth. Stephanie is horrible. Like, I am not a fan of Stephanie.
No, I haven't been a fan of Stephanie like since the beginning, just because of she was abusive.
Yeah,
you know, she
continues to be abusive in this episode when she starts yelling at her and saying like, "You're a narcissist. It's all about you. You're a narcissist." And I'm like, how in any way, shape, or form was Erica the narcissist? Like,
right.
That doesn't even make sense. She's like totally gaslighting her and making her feel like she's crazy when she's not crazy. Like, you're the one that was being completely awful to her. And Erica says, like, I think the moment that it was over is like when you threw the bowl in our hotel room. Like, I knew like this was it. Like, yeah, because that's a sign of abusive behavior. Like, if you're gonna,
not that the other 14 times they got into fights, it wasn't abusive, because it definitely
was, but that was escalating to like,
it got worse
physical abuse
every time. Yeah, exactly. Like, when you start having somebody that's like throwing things at you, you know that is just like a get the fuck out situation.
It's an escalation for sure. And, you know, when Erica says, like, the jealousy issues was, like, evident from the very beginning, and, like, it just, and then, two of Stephanie's friends come on to, like, defend Stephanie, and the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, like, why are they even on here? Because they weren't there to witness Erica and Stephanie's relationship. Now, when Erica had her friend on, she was actually there to witness like things going on in their relationship. So how are you about to have these two people who have like no idea what was actually happening?
And nasty personality. Just completely nasty. Treating this girl like a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, yelling at her, screaming
saying,
profanities.
Like, I'm Italian, so it's okay for me to talk to people this way. Like, no, that's not reality.
That was
guys.
something like her friends like, I'm Italian. This is just like the way that I am. And Erica was like, you don't get to just say that, like, because you're Italian, you get to act this way. Like, that doesn't even make, she just looked like an idiot. She looked like an idiot. She looked like a huge idiot.
Because I felt like I was really rooting for them in the beginning. I was really excited, first of all, that they were doing their first same-sex couple.
Yeah.
I was really excited that the girls both seemed like they were, like, attractive, that they were, you know, attracted to each other. They seemed like they genuinely really liked each other. They were excited to, like, be with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, like, a steady, like, downward slope from the second she landed in Australia. It was, like, a constant, every episode was, like, another thing happening. And I thought this was done way sooner than it actually was. The fact that Erica kept on allowing her to, like, just apologize and sweep things under the rug was shocking to me. It's like Erica doesn't seem like that. One of the notes that I made was that, first of all, Erica is fucking gorgeous.
Oh my god, her skin is so perfect.
She is
so pretty.
Gorgeous.
She's so pretty,
And I loved her outfit for it, and I loved her
that
earrings,
pink, like, off the shoulder, and that was super cute.
And her hair was beautiful, her earrings were beautiful, everything about her was amazing.
Like her, like funky, cool style, like, it's very unique, and she's just bubbly. I just like her.
It's very kawaii.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
She's very, like, you know, cutesy girly, you know, pastels, and she's just super, I love her. I love everything about her, and I hope if Erica ever sees this, I highly doubt it, but if you ever do, I hope nothing but the best for her. And she deserves some fucking amazing girl or boy.
I'm a big fan of Erica and her parents.
Her parents were both very
and her friends seem cool as hell too.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'll come date you.
Yeah, like you deserve so much better than the piece of trash that is Stephanie, let me tell you. All right, let's move on. Okay, so let's do these next few kind of quick because we're already halfway through.
And we really want to talk about 90 Day Fiancé the other way. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Okay, so real quick, Usman and baby girl, same old fight, different day. Guess that they've blocked each other a few times online. There's an argument about the fact that like he's too controlling or something.
But she's the one controlling everything.
The one controlling
like
him.
literally.
And then I love, this is the only part that I really want to talk about with them, is that the question of taking a second wife. And
yeah, that was the only thing that was really interesting.
That was really the only thing that was interesting. So in Nigeria, they are expected, obviously male sons are expected to have children. And so everyone noted like, well, baby girl Lisa is probably not going to be able to like give you children because she's past that point in her life. And so they were like, would you be okay with him taking a second wife? And she's like, yeah. And Avery is like, wait, hold up. So you would be okay with him like having another woman, being intimate with another woman, doing all these other things when you're not even okay with like women messaging him on Instagram. And
he's a celebrity.
Yeah. And so like baby girl Lisa at first is like, yeah, no, I get it. Like he has to have, and it wouldn't be like that. Like she would live in a different house, and
it's not even a legal marriage.
It wouldn't be a legal marriage. And Usman is like, wait, no, it would be a legal marriage. Like here in Nigeria, like I would have to marry her. Like we would have a marriage ceremony.
Have a separate life.
Just like you and I had. We would have, yeah, like all of that. And you could tell like BGL was like uncomfortable.
She does not take shit at all. And I hate her. But it's like the entire fucking time, all these people are saying he's going to get married. And he's even saying he's going to get married. And she's like, no, not in America. Okay, bombshell. He goes ahead and says, I don't plan on living in America.
Right.
And then they're like, so wait, you're not going to live in America? And he goes, no, she's going to come live over here.
Yeah.
Well, when they ask her, she says that's a personal question, which I'm like, how personal can that be? You're either going to go on to 90 Day Fiancé the other way or you're not.
Right.
Like, he's either coming here or you're going there in order for you guys to be together. So finding out that he had no intentions of living in America was a little bit weird, especially since she keeps on saying, well, in America, you can't have another wife. And he's saying, I'm in Nigeria and that I will have another wife.
Right.
And she just like talks over that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even something that they're allowed to like talk about. It's like this entire, it's just, I couldn't handle them anymore. That was the only thing that was really important about talking to them.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. And then the last couple of days with Lana.
So the things that I wrote down about David and Lana were that he was asked how many girls he's talked to over the time. So I don't know if all this was in the actual tell-all that was aired or the 10-hour one that I watched. So if you didn't see this, then good luck, because this is exactly what I have. So his answer was that he has spoken to over 1,000 women, which was a little bit weird. He's been to, he's been to Ukraine 20 plus times, and he's been there for tours to meet girls. So he used to get pamphlets in the mail that show basically like a photo album. You choose a girl, you say, I'm interested in this. You want to have them invited to the soiree that they do. And then you go to Kiev and meet these women. And he said that he's been there a ton of times for that. That he had spent $300,000 in trips meeting women out there, specifically to meet Lana. And that he has only sent her $3,000 in gifts. So, and then one of my biggest notes is fucking Yolanda says that he's in denial.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yolanda is telling you that you're in denial, guy. Like, get your shit together.
The other thing about them is that he says that they're engaged, but they're not together. What does that mean? How are you engaged to someone that you're not
together
with that person?
She's still on the sites. She's still talking to other people.
Yes.
He refers to them as her best friends and her only friends, which is very weird. Like, if you guys are engaged, if you guys are going to be together, there's no reason to be on these sites anymore. He gifts her a cell phone that they ask about whether or not she's been able to call him. And he mentions that her nails are too long and it's uncomfortable for her to use this phone. But if we all take a little snap back and look, she's using a phone that's also touchscreen, and her nails are short like mine.
And I'm sorry, but I have had fake nails so many times in my life.
Same. I went 5 years wearing fake nails up until COVID, and I can still type faster than anyone. The last thing that I wrote down was that in the 10-hour thing, I'm not sure if they talked about it on this, but that he said that it was illegal for her to talk outside of the website.
Not true.
Which is not true.
Not true.
Actually, Big Ed asked him, do people in Ukraine and Russia have Facebooks, which we all know they do. And he said that that is illegal for them to have Facebooks or to talk outside of that.
Yeah.
Dude.
No.
I literally have friends from Ukraine on Facebook. Like, I can speak to them at any point in time.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like, this is stupid. So, you know, essentially, they're together, but they're not together. They're engaged, but they're not together.
However that
Haven't
works.
talked in 6 days, but they're engaged.
Yeah.
So. Good for them. Glad to be over with that shit. It took entirely too long to get to the end of that story. And apparently there's more, which I don't know what else you can possibly fucking talk about.
I just
but
really hope that TLC fucking does better research in the future, because that was painful. That was a painful season.
I agree. I'm totally cool if I never have to see that shit again.
But let's talk about 90 Day the Other Way, because this actually looks really promising. So
I know, it does.
The first couple that we see are Yasmin, and he's 24 from Jordan, and Brittany, who's 26 from Florida.
She's a self-proclaimed Barbie.
Yes, and she's passionate about her rap career.
And she's actually pretty good. Like, she actually gives a couple bars. I thought it was pretty good. It was a little weird, but it was pretty good. It wasn't terrible. All right. I'm just saying, it wasn't that bad. So we don't agree on that, but it wasn't that.
I'm just not gonna say anything. I'm just saying, okay.
I've heard worse, is all I'm trying to say.
I mean, if that's where the bar is. Like, seriously.
Yeah, where are we setting the bar?
Where am I setting this bar at? Because
we're way down here. Just so you know. Basically, if you can rhyme, if you're Dr. Seuss and you make up your own fucking words, I think you're pretty good.
But anyways, so he's from Jordan. He's a practicing Muslim man. His family is very conservative. So already learning about where he comes from and his way of life, and then seeing Brittany and how she's interested in her rap career, and she's making like this rap video, and she's like twerking and stuff and showing a lot of skin. Already we see there's going to be culture
There's
clash.
going to be an issue. Yep.
There's going to be culture
right
clash.
off the rip, I was like,
Right
there's going to be
rip.
an issue.
Yeah, there's
for sure.
Yeah, for sure going to be an issue. She usually dates older men.
She calls them settled, which is like a little bit unsettling, actually. They're settled men.
Settled men.
What did she say?
In their 80s?
In their 80s. They asked how old.
The oldest man she dated.
She said 82 to 85.
Yeah, 82
around
85.
there. I'm like, what could you possibly be doing with these men?
Okay. So anyways, she's also not interested in converting to Islam, which
don't see how that's gonna work.
That's gonna be a huge issue, especially if you're planning to move to Jordan and you know that your fiance's parents are super conservative. Like,
well, you're gonna move there and join into their culture, but then you're just not going to commit to that.
Like the major part of their
However,
culture.
I will say that she tells him, like,
yeah,
I'm probably not going to convert.
But yeah, she does, but then also she says, like, anytime that he brings it up or anytime that they're going to talk about it, she just kind of, like, glazes over it and tries to, like, move on. Like,
say that.
She doesn't want to, like, engage in any real conversation about it.
But she does say that she's completely not interested in converting.
Yes.
and expects him to stay with her when she comes there, which is another thing
that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
His parents already said no.
So, you know, it's like for her to expect that, she said he'll figure it out. And it's just like, I think that she's going to be really disappointed when she gets there and that he is not as accommodating as she thinks he's going to be.
Yeah, no.
I'm kind of concerned about their relationship. I don't think that's going to last very long. I don't think that she's going to end up moving there. That's just my prediction.
That's my prediction. Too. I could be wrong. I can already see that I'm like annoyed by this whole thing, just because it's like, do some research about the culture. Like,
yeah, just at least like look into it. This is what somebody believes. This is what somebody practices.
Right.
Like, if you want to be part of their
if you're going to be part of his life
with them,
this is a part of his life.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. And it would be different if he was coming to live with her in Florida. Then maybe that could be something that you guys could work out. But it's like, that is the life in Jordan. Like, it's very religious. Like, this is what governs Jordan. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's not going to be so black and white when she gets there. If she, you know, or it's going to be black and white. It's not going to be as much gray area as she thinks it's going to be.
So another other thing about them is that she's still currently married to her ex, who was deported by ICE to Haiti. And she claims that she just forgot she was still married.
I forgot
I was married.
Apparently that happens 3 or 4 months after they get married. She said that she's known him since she was like 40 or something. And
she's known him, her whole life, and didn't know that he wasn't like technically a U.S. citizen. So he was, because he's lived in America since he was like 3 years old.
Right.
And so he's deported back to Haiti, and she's in the process of trying to get a divorce. She goes to see a lawyer, and the lawyer's like, it's going to take 6 to 10 months even to like get all the paperwork filed and like do everything to like to get the divorce. But her current fiance, Yazin, who lives in Jordan, is under the assumption that she is already divorced, and so is his family. So
they're aware that she was married before,
but not that she's not divorced.
Yeah.
So that's we'll see. Okay, next couple, Jenny and Sumit.
They're from a season before. They're from the first season, and I fucking love them. I love them. Jenny is what, 60, 61?
She's 61. She's from Palm Springs, California, and Sumit is 32. And he's living in India. And basically we just see that she's going to try to make this all work out again. If you haven't seen last season, basically she like cashed in her 401k, sold all of her belongings, went to India under the assumption that she was going to be marrying Sumit. And as she was there was like a knock at her door, and it was, there's Marley. It was Sumit's father-in-law. So we find out that Sumit was married, and she didn't know that he was married. He was in an arranged marriage with a woman he was not in love with. And there was obviously huge legal ramifications for all of this. He could have been thrown in jail. It could have gotten really ugly. But his wife actually agreed to getting a divorce. So
yeah, they have a mutual divorce.
Yeah.
But, his father-in-law said, I spent $20,000 on the marriage, and therefore you have to give me $20,000, and then I will let my daughter
we'll let the marriage be dissolved.
Right, it'll be dissolved.
Yeah.
So he claims that he's already paid him off half of the money, that his parents helped him to do that, even though they do not agree with his relationship with Jenny.
They do not support that relationship.
They don't support it, but they helped to pay off the $10,000. Now, here's the thing for me. This is all I have to ask about it. If he has to pay off the full $20,000 in order for it to be dissolved, does that mean that he has to come up with the other $10,000 in 6 months? Or is that like he's going to stay married until it's paid off? I worry for Jenny because of that, because she has sold her entire life last season to go to India and live with him. And like we had seen in the season prior. He basically was lying the entire time. He would say that he had to go stay with his parents for a week or 2 weeks, and he would actually go home to his wife.
Yeah.
He was leaving her alone in like a not so safe area, and she was going out at night to go to internet cafes to talk to her daughter and daughter-in-law. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen. I think the things that I wrote down were that obviously they filed for a divorce and it was mutual, and his ex-wife made false claims against him about hurting her and treating her poorly.
Yeah.
I think that Jenny and Sumit really do love each other.
For sure.
I think that they're going to stay together.
Yeah, I think that they really do have like a true like love.
Yeah, you can tell. You can just tell. They like
yeah.
You can just tell.
It's very sweet. I love it. But I think there's just like a lot of social, cultural obstacles in the way. So we'll see. So the next couple is Kenneth and Armando. Kenneth is 57 from Florida.
Does not look 57.
Oh my God, Kenneth, what do you do?
Yeah, what's your skin regimen? I need to know.
Oh my God, he looks like he's like 35.
35, yeah. He does not look a day over 35.
So good. So he has 4 kids, and he told, I highly recommend going to watch it because he told his coming out story, which was basically like his parents are, and he grew up in Ohio. His parents are super conservative. He ended up moving to Florida to like find himself, basically. And then while he was down there, like embraced that he was gay, and he ended up writing his parents like an 8-page letter, and his mom called him and was like,
you're fine.
Yeah,
we love you.
We love you. It's not a big deal. And I was just like,
I know, we were both sitting here tearing up.
It was just like so sweet. And then so then he ends up having 4 kids like through a friend of his, and like in vitro fertilization. So he had 1 boy, and then he wanted to try again for 1 more child, and he ended up getting triplets. So he has, but all the kids are grown.
They're all grown.
Yeah. And his youngest daughter, Madison, she's like in her 20s, and she has a son of her own, Cooper, who's like 4, and they live with him. And their relationship is just like,
you can just tell that he loves his family
it's
so
sweet and so cute.
Oh
I just love him so much. And then we meet Armando, who's 31. He's from Mexico. He has a 6-year-old daughter named Hannah, and he runs a pet resort, a doggy resort, which is so cute. He was married for 8 years, and he said, like, you know, I live in Mexico. It's like this he keeps saying it's a very macho culture, where like being gay is not accepted. And so he was like, basically, I wanted to try a relationship with a woman to see, like, can I get over like my true self? Like, can I get over these feelings and be in like a heterosexual like relationship? And he ended up coming out to his wife, and his wife called his parents and his wife was like, guess what your son just told me? And so basically like outed him to his family. And it caused a lot of pain. They ended up getting divorced, but it seemed to remain really good friends with her, because he calls her best friend. But she sadly passed away in a tragic car accident. So he has sole custody of his daughter,
which makes me question why he couldn't come
to America. Yeah. So their whole story, I cannot wait for it. Like, it seems so endearing, so genuine.
It does seem very genuine.
So sincere.
I think they'll stay together.
Yeah, I hope so.
I really hope so.
I'm just like,
I
worry about them being in Mexico.
Exactly.
Yeah, because even like they had concerns about. They even like mentioned like how it's not.
I think that's like why I was so like curious about why they weren't going to come to America
Florida,
instead. Because my initial thought was obviously the mother of Hannah, and her wanting to be close to her daughter and everything. And then finding out that she had passed away.
Yeah.
I was like, well, maybe it's because of the grandparents, but they're actually moving,
they're moving
4
4
hours away
from Armando's family
from his family.
because there's more work opportunities in another city
Right.
for Kenneth. So I don't know. I'm not totally sure what the reasoning there is like why
They didn't really touch
they
down
didn't
on
really
that.
talk a lot about that, but I am super stoked about this couple. Like they just seem like the most genuine, sweet people. I want to be friends with them. He said he basically had to come out a second time to his family because the first time that he had come out, like they basically just like heard all of it and they were like, we're not accepting it. And he was like, I felt like I was shoved back in the closet. And so we see him like what he says, like, I feel like I'm coming out a second time to his sister, and his sister just like breaks down and she's like, I am so sorry for like how I treated you back then, and like you are like a second dad to my kids, like I can't like even.
And she feels like she's a mother.
To Hannah, and she's like, I can't even fathom, you're my only brother, I can't even fathom you like moving away, but I want you to be happy. And like, so it seems just like, I don't know, it seems like it might turn out good. I don't know.
I'm really hoping. I actually think that they're a great couple.
Yeah.
You know, first impressions.
Yeah, first impressions.
We'll see what happens.
Right, exactly. Like,
but I feel like they're a really good couple, and I really hope that they stay together. They seem genuine.
My prediction is I'm gonna love them through the whole season.
I know,
because I just am already like obsessed with their story.
Same.
So the final and last one, we got to wrap it up kind of quickly here, is Ariella. She's 28, she's from New Jersey, and she is with Binyam, and he's 28, and he's from Ethiopia. And we find out she's 6 months pregnant with Binyam's baby.
A little bit of a shocker.
The way she met him was she is a traveler. She likes traveling the world, and she found cheap tickets to go to Ethiopia, went to Ethiopia, saw some guy like outside of her hotel and like dropped a cheesy pickup line, and it worked, and they started dating while she was there, and while she was there, she got pregnant.
Yeah.
So her dad's she works for her dad at her dad's cardiologist practice. Her mom is like a trauma ER nurse, and she drops the bombshell that she plans on having this baby in Ethiopia. And that's kind of what this all centered around. This episode kind of centered around was like her decision to like have this baby in Ethiopia because she wants Binyam to be there. But obviously there are like major concerns about the healthcare system in Ethiopia, not the standard of America, and her dad's a doctor, her mom's a nurse, so they're well aware of like what needs to happen when you're having a baby. And like one of the things was interesting is like she's already been trying to do some research about hospitals there, and like she asked about like having an epidural, and the hospitals were like, well, we always have a shortage of medication, so epidurals are not like, it's like if you're lucky maybe you can get one.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed,
but it's not guaranteed that you're gonna have an epidural. And then when she goes to talk to like her OBGYN's like, if you need a blood transfusion for any reason, there's a C-section, anything, like they may not have the blood that you need, they may not have the medications that you need. Like those are things that we worry about, you know, when we're looking at you having a child in Ethiopia. So her mom's gonna go with her to Ethiopia to kind of like scope things out and like look at hospitals and just kind of see how things are. And basically her mom was like, if the hospitals aren't up to standard, like I'm dragging her back to the US with me.
Which that reminds me of the last season. What was the girl's name? She went to South Africa.
Oh, Tiffany and Ronald.
Tiffany, yeah. She went to South Africa, and she was there. She was also pregnant. They were looking at what they were going to do for birthing. When they went into the hospital, you know, there was like, they were like, oh, you might get a room. You might be out in the hallway. We don't know. And she took her ass back to America to have that baby.
Yeah.
Like, girl, just stay, have the baby here, and then go.
I don't know, like, I understand, like, wanting to have your partner there with you, like, absolutely 100%. But at the end of the day, it's coming down to your life and your baby's life. And I would rather know, like, in the long run that I'm going to be there with my child to raise my child, and my baby's going to be healthy and my baby's going to be okay. Like, we'll get you in on a Zoom call so you can see the birth. But,
my health and my baby's health is definitely
way more important. And if I have access to way better health care, then I'm going to take it. So I guess we'll see what happens with those.
I am curious to see what happens with that. We haven't seen anybody actually go to the country that they're going to yet. So, you know, there's a lot to look forward to for the next couple of episodes here.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this lineup. I think that it's going to be good.
Yeah, I actually feel like this is a really good lineup.
They didn't really introduce her boyfriend.
No, not at all. We didn't hear from Binyam at all.
So I don't actually have like whether or not I think they're going to stay together.
Right. Yeah, we haven't seen we haven't seen their interaction at all.
And there's apparently another couple as well that's probably going to be on the next episode.
Yeah, it seems like it's an American and a woman from Colombia. And then also there's a return couple, Ji-hoon and Devin.
I love Ji-hoon. He's my favorite. He's so Ji-hoon. Funny. I remember him talking about his clean asshole. In the last season, he was on it, and he he has a bidet. And she's like, what the fuck is this? And she just keeps on talking about how his entire family and him just have the cleanest asshole.
Dude.
He's so funny.
He is so funny.
I love him. I'm not a big fan of Devin, but I do love Ji-hoon.
I'm not a fan of Devin, but Ji-hoon is hilarious.
I'm so excited to see them. I think that I'm excited just for like his jokes. He's just a good guy. You can just tell that.
He's shady AF.
He is shady.
He's shady AF.
Funny. You know,
like he's like hilarious. He calls himself like, what did he call himself last season? Like the man boy. The man boy, because like he knows that he's like not living up to like.
Yeah, he's fun.
He's just. But he's like a deadbeat.
Yeah,
like, he's like, I just quit my job because I wasn't making enough money.
And wasn't he like selling drugs or something?
No, he was selling stolen cell phones.
Yeah, stolen phones.
And he owes,
he
owes like thousands of dollars to like the South Korean government. Yeah.
That's gonna be a trip.
I'm
excited for that.
He's a mess, but he's a super charming and endearing mess.
Oh my god.
And then I just don't have any, like, Devin's like talking to a doorknob, like no personality.
She's so boring. I just hate her so much.
And then like not to mention she's like a Trumpster and
oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry for all you Trump loving people out there. We just are not, but that's a great thing to end on. So yeah, next week obviously we'll be watching 90 Day Fiance the other way. I guess we'll watch 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days tell us again.
Like
so
if
boring.
it's even worth it. Like I don't even know if I even want to talk
we
about
might
it.
not even talk about it. It might not even be a thing.
It's so stupid. But let us know about the Epstein thing if you guys would like us to do a deep dive. We would love some interaction, and we would love to know, like, are there things you want us to watch?
If there's something that you love to watch, just tell us, because even if we've watched it before, we'll talk about it.
Absolutely.
Or if there's something that you just want us to bring up, like, we are so down. We're open to anything. Netflix, Hulu, I don't give a fuck what it is.
Yeah.
Just let us know, and we will definitely be tuning in and watching that with you.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for coming on, guys.
We love you, little trash pandies.
We love you, little trash pandies.
Bye.
Bye.